I am recording this, and I'll make an unlisted video on YouTube with it for anyone who wants to reference this in the future for newer court members. Oh. That feels good enough. Let me pull this over here. All right. We're going to go through this hopefully pretty quickly and get through like the main core parts of it. I can take some questions afterwards, be like 30 to 40 minutes just to go over from the Rorqual's perspective everything you need to do to not die while you are flying your Rorqual and properly call in a QRF so that initiative can come and rescue you and you can be good content for about 8 to 10 minutes. This is important, and we're going to go quickly through kind of a bunch of different things. So, why this is important, just everything you need to do before you even think about getting outside in your Rorqual, the entire process for the QRF, how to use your reps and stuff while you're not dying, some quick tips and tricks, and then we'll go through some Q&A stuff. Can everybody hear me okay? Is everyone's audio working fine? Beautiful. For like a quick overview about why this is so important, I don't want to beat up on goons, but I'm going to beat up on goons. If anyone has a Z Killboard feed that comes through their corp at all, in the last like month or two, you may have seen that Delve is not a great place to be a Rorqual right now. And this is kind of the progression that you'll see as people die. The more often you die in a Rorqual, the more you will invite and encourage people to join FCs on their little expenditures here. This is all in the last 2 months from like late June to literally today. The 1429 one was from today. And the numbers going down from these ones are 23, 39, and 61 people participating. I don't want to get dropped by 61 redeemers. I don't want to get dropped by 20 redeemers. I want them to do it once and then never do it again. So if we can do these things effectively, we discourage people from coming into our space and being crappy. Oh, you're good. Okay. Yeah, it's being recorded. Everything will be posted at the end of this. I'll go through and repost it too. Before you even begin to do any of this other stuff, you do need to have a Sino-Alt. I push this a lot. Some people have Sino-Alts that are miners in their fleets that they think that they can warp off with, get into a Sino, warp back to the belt with. You cannot do that. Don't do that. It's very bad for you, and it will add time to your rescue with the QRF, and potentially you won't have a Sino-Alt at all because you might not respond in time when someone tries to drop on you, and you'll get your Sino-Alt locked in a bubble, and you will die. Don't do that. Make it a separate account. Have them undocked online on grid with you, sitting in the belt, ready to go. This is a very critical thing to have as a part of your Rorqual kit. your Sino-Alt that is also not a miner in your fleet. How that Sino-Alt's going to work is it's going to be on grid with you at 300 kilometers off the belt in a random direction. It is not going to be in any fleet. You're going to have that thing sitting with no fleet on the belt with you on grid. This is because when you have them in your fleet with you, if they leave fleet and then try to join another fleet, there's a session change that will happen that'll cost you about 5 to 6 seconds depending on the server. And then you might not be able to join into the QRF fleet, or you might forget, misclick, and stay in your fleet, and then light a Sino that's in Fountain Standing or your own fleet, and not be able to get QRF'd at all, which is bad for you. Have them out of any fleet, have them sitting there ready to go, and do not leave them on a public bookmarket initiative. AWACSs happen, they're bad. Don't let them sit on a thing that someone can warp to, uncloak them, and kill them so that you can't get, saved. There was one exception for this. When you are mining outside of the bridge range inside of CTAC-N, we have a very large map of all the bridge range from CTAC-N. There are a few systems on the right side of bridge range from CTAC-N, 7BX, AV, DAC-V, HMF, P5, DAC-E. These are just right on the cusp of the range. When you are outside of that range of an immediate bridge, your Sino needs to be in a system where you can get bridge to. So if you're in 7BX and Chimera, 7BX DAC6F, your Sino needs to be in 6VDT on the gate 300 kilometers off so that they can go straight down to the gate and go into 7BX. If you're in AV DAC-V, your Sino needs to be in XJP DAC Y7 on the gate to AV DAC-V 300 kilometers off so you can Sino them in. They can go to the gate and come straight in. Always max tank your Sino. There's just a standard, like the Falcon is usually the one that you would want to use the most frequently. You can just armor and shield tank brick the thing to death. Make sure that it will be able to last. It's going to be 300 kilometers off the belt anyway. They're probably not going to be able to run over to it and shoot it immediately. So it's not as big of a deal. Let me go back over to my thing here. There are some, this is like your core, like the core, the CTAC-N bridge range is your core systems. If you don't have Titan friends, if you're not super confident being in a Rorq wall, you want to stay in these systems. If you've never been jumped before, I would not leave these systems, and you would need to stay in these so you can get some experience getting dropped on, and then feel more confident going into other areas. I did include on this PowerPoint, if anybody wants to pull it up and reference it later. You've got your KVN bridge range. If you're on the left side of Fountain, you're in a different kind of bridge range. You should highly recommend having a Titan friend in KVN so that they can bridge from there to your Rorq wall if you're mining in these more remote areas that are not immediately accessible. And the same thing goes for Outer Ring. People have just recently gotten a lot of moons in Outer Ring. These areas are bridgeable from J5A so that you can have your Sinos set up in these areas and be able to get some help from J5A. Oddly enough, J5A is closer than XF. So it's the best place probably for you to have a Titan to bridge over so you can get the max range out there. It's also only 2-3 jumps from CTAC-N, so it's a little bit faster than... Like NDAC 2 is another place that's good for a Titan to bridge to Outer Ring, but it's just a little easier to get J5A. Before you even undock it all, you do need to have a proper Rorq wall fit. I do scream to the high heavens to get the FOL booster fit. It is the Genelution set one that has the Ancil Repper and shield, Concord shield booster. It's not very much different in price now. Genelutions have come down in price significantly. They're like 500 to 600 mil for a full set. It's very important to have that stuff. Don't fit your miner, you do not fit your Rorq wall for mining with drones. They're not particularly great, and you massively disadvantage yourself in how much you're able to rep. You need to last for like 1 to 2 minutes max before you're probably going to end up panicking. And the FOL booster with the Genealotion set gives you the best chance to do that with 106,000 EHP reps per second when you have all your ancils loaded and you are able to rep. The FOL booster basic, I don't think I've seen anyone ever actually have this fit. It is up there, but it does have an ancil repper. It does rep a little bit less per second, but for 600 mil more, you just get the FOL booster and do not fit the FOL miner. It is. These are all in initiative fittings. FOL booster basic are all, you can find them in game under Alliance fittings, and you can find them on Auth. They will have all of the implants you need inside of the cargo of the Rorq wall. There's somewhere I posted in the mining channel where I was talking about the difference in how much mining you can do in a Rorq wall with and without the rigs for it. Oh, someone did just ping a QRF late. I don't know the cadence to that. Do we pause here for that, or do we? Do we pause for a QRF fleet with these lectures, or do we let them? Do we go? I mean, it's technically a beta. I'll keep going for now. Okay. I'll keep going for now. But yeah, just to reiterate, FOL booster with Genealotion set. I'll go over why this is like great to have when we're talking about reps later on. The last thing is, of course, are you prepared for a QRF? QRFs are stressful. I've been dropped on 6 times in the last 2 years since I've been in initiative. They are a lot to deal with, and there are many a night now where I will definitely think about it before I undock my Rorq wall as to whether or not I am even remotely prepared to do a QRF. If I'm drinking or high is important to not do a QRF. You won't want to undock in your fancy toy. Have you checked on Mumble, the finicky bitch of voice comms that it is? Make sure that's actually working. Look in your system to see if there's a uni hole. Check next door or in your current system that there's a wormhole. Every wormhole leads to Turner. I'm in my mind. They all go there. And there's 30 to 40 legions sitting there waiting for you. So I check every single system to make sure that there's no wormholes popping over next door. I do not want to fight 30 to 40 legions. You don't either. And do you have your internet browser open, ready to go with DScan? And of course, this is a whole bunch of stuff. Do you even want to do it? I was saying before. It is unidentified wormhole. There are a number of systems in Fountain that have Jovian structures in them, and they will randomly spawn an unidentified wormhole that links up. This is how we get around, yeah. Fountain has a ton of them. Drifter holes, yeah. And of course, this whole, like, do you even want to do this? If you are a miner, if you are a aspirational Rorq wall pilot, there are a bajillion ways to make money mining without getting into a Rorq wall. This is a lot of stuff to do. It's very fast. You're going to be doing a lot of different actions very quickly when you get into the QRF and trying to protect yourself and your little guys. You can get a porpoise and mine gas. You can do drifting mining with Orca. You don't have to go into a Rorq wall. It is not a required thing that you do as a miner. You do not have to do this. They are important to the whole economy of our beautiful fountain, but it's not for everyone. This was a recommendation from Blorkus here. Knowing and how to do a proper D-scan is very important to all of the FCs at the initiative and everyone here. I want to very quickly understand that with everyone. Even if you're just D-scanning 3 sabers, it's important. If you're just picking up those little bits at the very beginning, it will tell the FC, or it will give the FC an idea of what they could be potentially fighting. If it's just 1 saber, it might not be a large fleet. If you D-scan 5 sabers, that could be a very large fleet of people coming into the system very soon to kill you. If it's 40 bombers, they want to know what they're going to pick to come and help. So they need you to give that D-scan. A bunch of bombers aren't going to maybe have a saber, and it's just going to be 40 bombers. You absolutely need to get this initial D-scan out with your initial ping. You have the time to do it, especially if you are in the proper fit Rorq, the FOL booster. You can survive a lot of damage for a very good amount of time in that fit. So take the time, deep breath, get the D-scan, post it with your initial ping. Let them know what is immediately there for you. Once you get into comms, when more things come in, you can communicate with the FC and tell them that they're there. Yeah, I have that pinned to the top of my browser. I have it open when I'm in my Rorq wall. It is immediately available for me to Alt-Tab and paste into the second I get attacked. So I don't have to think about clicking over to it, typing in anything for it. It's just open and ready on my desktop for if I get dropped. If you don't have a D-scan overview that will show the things that we need to know, inside of Alliance chat, there is an overview channel that you can go in and load up an overview so you can get all the things that you need to have on there. And of course, your fine be calm. When you get dropped on initially, don't freak out. Don't just spam post things. Don't just hit enter immediately into the thing and then just lose it bouncing around. Deep breaths. Manage the things that that you can manage as quickly as possible. We'll go through the whole process now of your 1, 2, 3, 4 for what you need to do for the QRF. This is going to look like a lot initially, but we're going to break it down afterwards. This is just a straight 1 through bajillion things that you need to immediately do to not die in your Rorq wall. And I put some very quick times that you're going to do this. This might take a minute. So it's going to happen very quickly. All the different things that you need to do to not die. When you first get dropped on, if you see a saber coming into you and you're not going to get off with your Rorq wall, you can cycle down your boosts and compressor, hit the D-scan, and copy and paste that into the website. You're going to Alt-Tab really quickly and copy-paste. You're going to come back into your Rorq wall, see if a fleet has landed on you and has started shooting you, cycle reps, and things that you need to do there. You're going to Alt-Tab back over. You're going to grab your ping to the core space defense with your D-scan and post it into the Discord. And you're going to Alt-Tab back to your Rorq wall. You're going to check shields, look for ads to tell the FC about. And then you're going to Alt-Tab back to the core space defense channel, QRF, and find the QRF comms channel and jump into the fleet as well so that you can get on comms immediately. When you join comms, you are going to immediately press the shout key that you have bound already to communicate with the FC to tell them that you're in comms. If you do not know how to bind a shout key in Mumble, please talk to your directors and have them guide you through that process. You're going to Alt-Tab back again to check shields, do your reps, panic if needed. You're going to Alt-Tab back, get your Sino into the fleet, and be ready to pop your Sino to get saved. This can all happen in 1 whole minute. And it's very important to do all these different things, all in that kind of just very abrupt order. Number 1, cycling your boosts and compressor, your boosts are going to keep you flagged for combat. If there's a chance that you can warp off and get to a station, which has happened, I think, to someone in Fountain recently, if you warp off to a station and you have not cycled off your boosts for mining, you are flagged for combat. You will die on that station. They will kill you in 1 minute. The most dangerous place for a Rorq wall to be is not in a mining belt. You should never gate your Rorq wall anywhere. They should be jumping to structures only. And you can only warp to a structure when you know you can dock. If you cannot dock in a structure, you should not be warping to a structure. If you get caught off on a structure, you're just dead. If you get caught on a gate, you're dead. There is almost nothing we can do to save you. The whole reason that this whole QRF process even works is because you have the ability to panic and not die for 6 minutes. Does that all make sense? I have a little way to go through this a little bit faster for everyone too, once you have the core idea down. For the actual ping itself, this is already available to everyone in the core defense channel. This ping is the ping that we use. It's already set up there. You should have this pre-filled out. I have a notepad I have on my desktop. Whenever I undock, I have that loaded up as well, and it has my full ping ready to go to copy and paste into the core defense channel. I will immediately grab that from there, post it in the channel. I update it to whatever system I'm in every night I move around, so that I will know exactly where I'm at that night. If you do not fill out Sino available as yes, then you shouldn't undock at all. This should just be yes no matter what. You'll paste your DScan information in there, and you'll tell the FC if you're in panic or not already. EWAR cannot stop you from panicking. If you are sieged in your Rorq wall, you cannot be EWAR'd. It is 100% resistance to EWAR. So when you are sieged, you cannot be EWAR'd. I don't, for this whole process here, let me go back real quick. Whoop. I do not turn off my siege until I'm panicked. If I panic, then I turn off my siege. That's just to make sure it's like if a red fleet is coming in, if you don't know if you're gonna be able to warp off in time, if you red cycle your panic, a fleet comes into you, they bubble you, and you didn't have very much longer on your cycle left, and you forget to re-siege to be able to rep, you're gonna be very bad at repping. So I typically just stay green until I panic. The second you panic, you turn off your siege so that you can get reps from a fax if it comes to that. And so you can warp off immediately. Oh, go back to the thing. Whoop. Make sure I'm seeing questions at the same time too. Yes, please do add it. If you have a Titan in a remote location, if you're in a remote location and you have a Titan on standby in KVN or J5A, let the FC know that you do have that. I have some exceptions for these rules in here, but yeah. This is probably the most important thing you do in the entire process. Like if you immediately panic and get your ping down pat pretty well, and you get all your ping, your DScan information, and you're in comms, you probably have a very good chance of not dying. That is probably the most important thing you can do is this ping. This is what's going to get you saved. If everything else goes perfectly and you fuck up this ping, you die. Like that's the way it's going to be because you need to be saved. You are a very weak little Rorq wall with no way to defend yourself. This is the most important thing you can do. I have that as an exception down here. There's two exceptions to the rule for the immediate panic. I can just skip ahead real fast. We can, yeah. There's 2 exceptions for this. There's 2 times in which you will immediately need to panic. 2 hells can alpha strike your Rorq wall. They can just kill you. If their bombers get within 40 kilometers of you, they missile and bomb you. They can just kill you in 2 seconds. Hyperspatial hells have enough damage to just delete you from this earth. You need to panic very quickly if you're getting dropped by 2 hells. And recently added were micro jump drive carriers. These carriers, I've seen it maybe used once. You can go into a belt with a carrier onto a Rorq wall, activate your micro jump drive, and yeet the Rorq wall 250 kilometers away from the asteroid belt. Panic modules can only be activated within 200 kilometers. You have to be within 200 kilometers of an asteroid in order to panic. So this 250 kilometer range is exactly enough to get you away from most belts, depending on the angle in which the carrier yeets you away. So if you see a carrier on grid with you, they have a 10-second spool. You have 10 seconds to hit that panic button. So I highly recommend for everyone when they get into a belt to lock an asteroid, communicate to anyone that they are mining with that is your Rorq wall asteroid, and to not mine it, and always have an asteroid locked in case of these 2 specific things. You do not want to die. I don't want you to die. Go back here real quick. This is an easy post-it note you can have to kind of remember all these different things. With the original tab here, after everything you do, you just check shields. You alt-tab and check shields. Anytime you do something is to go back and check your shields to make sure you're not dead. A lot of this stuff can happen in one quick manner. So your quick post-it note cheat sheet, cycle down your boost and compressor. I have the compressor posted up here too. So a lot of people don't know. Your compressor takes like 2% of your capacitor away every time it cycles. So if you leave that on, you're going to kind of hurt yourself. You want to cycle on your smart bombs. You have a good chance of destroying some bombs coming into you if you're fighting bombers, and there's also some torpedoes if you have your smart bombs cycled. D-scan copy, ping core defensive D-scan, get in comms, and get Sino and fleet. This is just a quick thing to have posted on your monitor, ready to go, so that you can look at it and reference it to make sure that you do all the things you need to do. Yeah, I have the little, I have that coming up in a second here. I want to go back to this one. This is my layout for my Rorq wall. This is where all my modules are. Talking about the smart bomb specifically and just kind of your flow. However you have your thing set up, I would highly recommend you practice this so that you have your kind of flow for how you're going to cycle on and off your modules ready to go. I hide my panic in the corner so I don't accidentally press it. I have my siege module compressors and things lined up. All of my smart bombs are lined up where my everything is ready to go. So just for your whole immediate, when you first get dropped on in your Rorq wall, you're going to turn off your compressor and your 2 boosts. I have my boosters, my capacitor booster set up a little differently. I use small charges so that I can keep on my 2 invulnerabilities. I've been dropped a lot, and these things, keeping my 2 multispectrums on, are really hard. So I will leave them off until I get attacked, and then I just go through, turn off my compressor, turn off my 2 boosts. I turn on my smaller capital capacitor booster, and then my 2 invulns. And then I go over and I start turning on my smart bombs. And I kind of have a rhythm with this to get them all cycled on. So turn off compressor, turn off 2 boosts, turn on my capital booster and my 2 multispectrums, turn on 1 smart bomb, I open D-scan, I turn on another smart bomb, I scan with D-scan, I turn on a 3rd smart bomb, and then I copy paste D-scan. You want to have your smart bombs spread out. Focused void bombs are what's going to, number 1, destroy your capacitor. And they go, there's some math behind this. They go 2,000 meters a second. Your smart bombs have a 7,500 meter range. If you can get 2 of your smart bombs to hit the focused void bomb, it will destroy them and save you a little bit of capacitor and maybe let you get a couple more reps off. So having a kind of a rhythm to make that happen, because I can't fucking count to Mississippi while I'm freaking out about a bunch of bombers on me. So I just have it as a part of the rhythm for when I'm clicking on D-scan. If I have time to refit command bursts, I absolutely do. I also recommend against that and would prefer, where's my other tab here? Make friends. 2 Rorq walls is way better than 1 Rorq wall. If you have 2 Rorq walls in a belt and you're on top of each other, you can essentially do a fire screen for any missiles and torpedoes coming in whatsoever to you, as well as 1 Rorq wall can be fit for mining boosts and 1 Rorq wall can be fit for shield boosts. Shield boosts increase the effectiveness of your repairs by 20%. So you'll go from your 106,000 EHP a second reps to almost 130,000 EHP a second reps. It's very good. It also gives you like 200,000 more EHP. This also gives you the option to kind of lean on somebody a little bit. I've done this in the past with Rorq walls I've been with. If we're in belt together and we get dropped, whoever is the primary target focuses on repairing and the other Rorq wall does D-scan and pings the QRF channel. It helps out a lot to have these things kind of separated among people. If you're not particularly confident or you have not been dropped before, I highly recommend you make a Rorq wall friend and mine with them. I keep doing that and hitting escape instead of alt-tabbing. Let me go back over there. You can have a mobile depot deployed. You can have a mobile depot deployed to swap for max tank and to get into shield command bursts. However, people panicking and trying to do all the other things that are more important to them getting saved, that like having max tank isn't as important as getting D-scan and getting the post in the QRF channel. It's just not. Having max shields and stuff like that, it's just, yeah, you need to last for 1 minute. And I know that's a long time to last for. It's a very long time. But you can do 1 minute with any of these fits except for maybe the minor one. The FOL minor is probably the only one where you're going to have a lot of trouble lasting for a full minute to get into a fleet and get set up. So do the FOL booster fleet. You don't have to particularly worry about swapping things around. The reason it's hard to get get refit into shield command burst is because you have to decycle your mining bursts, and then you have to wait for the de-aggression timer to go down for 1 minute, and then you have to refit into shield command bursts. It's obnoxious. It's the worst. Have a buddy that's another Rorq wall pilot. Make friends. Talk to each other. I know those rare ores that you want all for yourself. Make friends. Have 2 Rorqs. It makes it insanely hard to get killed in. Yeah, I do carry. I have a little. Where's my thing at? I'm actually going to post it in here too. While I'm here. Mining. I just made one of these like massive lists of all of my junk. That's literally what I carry on my person in my Rorq wall when I'm out. So yeah, I do have the full refit into shield boosts. You need to have the mining director, the shield and mining foreman link. No, I'm not. This is not. I don't. There never needs to be a min-max Rorq survival course. I want you to D-scan in QRF effectively. More than anything. I don't want anyone to worry too much about the little tiny nitty-gritties of this stuff. the number one and only thing you really need to do is descan and post the QRF. Yeah, I will have Q&A as well. Let me go back here real quick. Got a little sidetracked. We did that one. Okay. I just want to make sure I went through my process of how. Oh yeah, that was the Shvo is a different kind of pilot. I don't. That's different. I would never in my whole life want to have to defend against a Shvo Kiki fleet. Good lord. Did everyone understand the process of how I turned my modules off and on when I first got into the QRF before I really got going? I kind of went through that pretty quickly, and I do talk fast. Okay. For when you're repping, when you're getting dropped on, there's a couple different fleets you can get dropped on by. The main ones are going to be bombers, Kikis, and redeemers. I haven't seen Kikis used very much recently in people attacking us, but they all kind of work the same way. The reason you want that FOL booster fit for your Rorq wall is because you have an Ancil Repper. The capital Ancil Repper is the best thing ever. It allows you to repair your Rorq wall without any cap going. You're going to get void bombed into the dirt, kind of no matter what fleet gets onto you. If it's a Redeemer fleet, they're going to newt your cap out. If it's a bomber fleet, they're going to void bomb you. Kikis do have a newt on them for the fits that attack Rorq walls, and they will also probably bring void bomb, focused void bombs out to nuke your cap. Focused void bombs neutralize 15,000 gigajoules of your capacitor. The Rorq wall only has 100k. It'll get destroyed pretty quickly. So having the Ancil Repper is incredibly important to have, as well as when you have the rigs to reduce the cost of your Repper, the normal Concord capital Repper, that will let your 3200 gigajoule capacitor give you 2 reps instead of 1. If you have a fit that's weird, if you have like an EM gap filler fit, if you have anything that's not the FOL booster fit, your Concord capital Repper is going to take 1800 gigajoules to rep, and you'll only get 1 rep for every 3200 capacitor booster you use. So that's bad. You want to be able to maximize your reps while you are getting blown up. And the way you're going to go about using that is there's 2 different ways to do it, of course. You can, while you're initially getting attacked, you can try and cycle your capital capacitor booster and try to hit up your Concord capital Repper while you are going back and forth and trying to get your capacitor up and trying to rep. If you run out of cap charges, then you can start using your Ancil booster. Additionally, at the very beginning of the fight, you can start just using your Ancil booster and let them burn through their void bombs and then swap over to using your capacitor. It's either way you want to do it, whatever one you feel more comfortable doing. The one thing I will, of course, recommend is you always are going to have your capital Ancil Repper overheated. It only has 9 charges. You are always going to overheat that. That'll increase the amount it reps massively so that you can get the most out of it. Once it runs out of those 9 charges, it has a 60-second reload time, and you're not going to use it again. You're going to panic before this thing reloads. And it's going to be reloaded when you panic because you've got 6 minutes to go. You can repair it while you're panicked with thermal paste while you're in there, and make sure that it's topped off and ready to go after you're out of your panic cycle. Most of the time, 99% of the time, you're probably going to panic. The QRF is going to come in and you'll be out of panic with no one else on grid. If you leave a wormhole up the Turner and there's 30 to 40 legions on grid, they will maybe not leave. And then that's when this is going to come into play. as another... Oh. Let's see here. If there's anything I immediately missed... I think I got all my immediate stuff through there. Oh, I absolutely did miss something and I totally forgot about it. Let's go back here real quick. Right on this one. Take drugs. There we go. That's important. It's in my fit right there. Both of the drugs that are... Oop. There we go. Yeah, thank you for the fit FOL booster. It's on my fit. The Janus link I posted is all the things I carry in my Rorq wall when I'm going out. Just to make sure that I have enough stuff. Then you do need to have that agency and strong blue pill available to use. You also do need that extra 50,000 heavy water in your cargo hold, as well as enough oxygen topes to be able to jump out if you need to. If you come out of panic and a fight is still ongoing and you maybe don't get bubbled right, or they goof it up and you have a chance to jump out and get back to C-TAC-N or another safe place, it's a lot easier to jump than it is to warp. The Rorq wall takes 10,000 years to warp off the grid. If anybody has any questions, Felon, panic without being cap dry. It depends on what you're fighting against. It's been pretty rare for me to come out of panic without being cap dry. You can turn on brackets to see when bombs are coming in, so that you can kind of guess when you should be boosting your capacitor and cycling some reps. When you do cycle a rep, you should be able to get off 1 or 2 reps off of your things. And it only takes, when you're using full, when you have full boosts going with strong blue pill and with the agency going, it's only 4 reps of both to fully fill up your shield HP. So you don't have to just sit there and blast it the entire time you're going. Never mind in C-TAC-N. That's an easy one. Never, ever mind in C-TAC-N. Oh. Don't mind that moon. I would recommend getting a different moon. Or just mine it with not a Rorq wall. The reason for that is that, like, it's... with any capital stuff, it's just not a good idea to do any capital stuff in C-TAC-N. We can't drop faxes on you. If you need to get a fax on a person, you need the fax to be on the person. It can't be 300 kilometers off, because if we put a fax 300 kilometers off with the Sino, they're just going to bubble it. They're going to bubble the Keepstar in C-TAC-N. If they have a target that they think they can kill, they're just going to bubble where all the capital's coming out. It's just bad for you. It's not going to go well, and it's going to add time. It's bad. They can do a lot more things. And C-TAC-N in general is bad to mine in because they have eyes there 24/7. There's always a newt in C-TAC-N looking. So you will get dropped on. They can do a lot more strategic drops on you if they have eyes on you, and they can get around, our spies being able to see them doing stuff. So it's bad. Don't do that. The number of times where we get like pre-pinged for baddies coming into coming into Fountain to kill us, that happens way less when it's someone in B17 or in C-TAC-N. Back in the day when we were in B17. Were there any other questions that anyone had?